Welcome adventurers, welcome one, welcome all to the place where the geeks meet the brawn. Or sorry, actually it's not where the geeks meet the brawn, is it? It's where the muscles, oh god, I don't even remember what I was saying last week. It's where the brawn meets the brush. That's what I was trying to say. It's Friday, it's been a long week. But welcome one, welcome all. Happy to have you fellow adventurers join me in this week's Minis and Muscles. That's what I was trying to say. Crikey. But it's Friday. We are here. We are here. Hopefully you can all hear me and you can all see me. Fingers crossed the music in the background's not too distracting. I've got my good old pocket bard playing in the background just for a bit of music. Just to give it a bit of flavour, you know, spice it up a bit. But welcome back. It's lovely to have you all, whether you are watching live or whether you are watching on catch up. I appreciate every single watch. So peace and love to you all. Thank you for joining. So let's have a previous recap on where we were last. So last week, what did we talk about? Crikey. That's a great question. Oh, I think I'm even going to have to look back on my my notes from last week. So last week we talked about board games. Yes, we did. We talked about board games last week, and you know, we rattled through a couple of my favourites from starting with Monopoly all the way through to Hero Quest to Munchkin to Small World to spin-off sort of board games like Blood Bowl and things like that. And lots of other bits and bobs. So we spoke about that last week. This week, we are just going to go through a plethora of things this week. So we'll obviously catch up with our good pal Grombrindle and how the painting is going there. And then we will go through, you know, as we do, just little tips, tricks and techniques that we may want to look at whilst we're painting our models. So hopefully you will find some invaluable lessons. And actually today, on today's session, I haven't done the tutorial on it, but on today's lesson we will be covering painting eyes. So really tricky thing to paint on a model, especially when you're working down to 28mm or 32mm models or smaller. But I only really paint 28 and 32mm. So we'll go through that and hopefully you'll learn a little tip and trick there. Then what else are we going to do? We are going to talk about geek culture. So we're going to just go through everything really from, you know, Warhammers and Dungeons and Dragons through to other bits and bobs, whether that is sci-fi films, whether that is computer gaming. So we'll talk about a bit more modern gaming actually. So yeah, we'll talk about that. And then we'll of course have our muscle moment where we will discuss in today's session. Actually we're going to talk about form and technique. We'll also cover things like, should we do all over body or should we focus on body parts such as, you know, back and biceps, or should we just go all over blitz? And we might even squeeze in some time if we've got it for supplements to take, so whether that's protein shakes and creatines and all that sort of good jazz. And again, if we have time, we will also include something like a general workout, so we'll discuss a few workouts that you could adopt at home. As always, we will be chatting to you guys in and out of the chat. Just to make sure you are interacting. If you have any questions, you will be more than welcome to jump in with those questions and ask away. So we will be there. So let's kick off. If you are doing some painting alongside me tonight, have you got your paint set up and ready? Have you shook up those pots? Have you got some fresh water? Is your wet palette ready? I put in some new paper into my wet palette this evening. Made sure it was suitably soaked. So mine is sorted and ready, but hopefully yours is too. As always, I normally start with a bigger brush, just to crack on with any sort of larger areas on the model. And talking of models, let's take a look at our Grombrindle. So this is what he should look like. So you see that lovely picture there? He should look like that. And that is the kind of effect we're going for. So what does our model look like over the past couple of weeks that we painted? So let's try and see if we can get... Here we go. Oh no, not that view. We want this one. So here he is. This is our Grombrindle. And it might even be better to go that way round. There we go. There is our Grombrindle. Okay, so let's have a little talk about what we've done so far. Let's get the angle right. There we go. Okay, so we started up on the axe. So we started up over this way. Gave it a nice sort of silver coating, plus a little bit of a gold edging, coloured in the red for the gem in the centre. We gave it a sort of bronze type brown effect on the handle. We covered off a couple of little minor details that was sort of picked out in silver and in a sort of whitish kind of to look like a rope. We've obviously covered his gloves, but there is a bracelet there I've just noticed that needs doing, a bracelet, and on the back of his glove there's like a sort of dwarven imprint there on the back of his glove. We haven't done his eyes yet or his eyebrows, so we will do those today, but we have done his hair and beard. The little ends on the little jewels, sorry, need to be painted on all three of the beard tassel thingamabobbies. We do have a little bit down here actually. So there's a compass and two little sort of keepsakes, whatever they are. But apart from that, we're pretty much done in terms of this sort of first round, just to get him tabletop ready. So if we sort of spin him round here, you'll see that everywhere we've covered so far is done. So we've got the shields at the back there. We've got his nice sort of wolfskin cloak. We did a bit of dry brushing on. But yeah, he's looking pretty good. All the little items around the edge are painted. I'm still not sure about those bright copper, what are they called, toe caps on his boots. But, you know, we'll work with that. We'll work with it. But we do have Grombrindle ready to rock and roll pretty much. I mean, if you wanted to put him on a table at this point, you could do. But that would be completely up to you. So that's where we are with that model so far. So what do we got in there? Anyone in the chat so far? I'm not sure, but if you are, feel free to drop in a message, say hello. How is your Friday? What's been going on? My week has been a very busy week this week. It's literally finishing work calls to then jump straight onto this live with about half hour to spare. So it's very interesting writing up my notes ready for this session, sticking them on my iPad, all in a rush because I hadn't prepped it before. Bad Steve. But we are here nonetheless. So that is Grombrindle and where we are to this point. I think we're going to probably... Oh, where do I want to start actually? I think I'm probably going to do... Oh man... Maybe the keepsakes and the compass, because they really stand out to me on the model. So if I switch back here, those keepsakes that we've got just down here. So these here, keepsakes and the compass, we're going to fill those in, I think, because they're black and it's a big lump. It just stands out, whereas the rest looks painted, although there's some detail to add. The rest doesn't look too bad. But yeah, we'll do that in a second. I reckon we might get away with on these knuckle dusters. That's a bit of water off my brush. On these knuckle dusters, we might get away with a real light coating of silver. And you remember I talked about how you have the black as the undercoat because it brings out depth in any of the shape of the model. So if we go really lightly over here, it will bring out all this finer details. In fact, I might do that first. So let's get a silver out. For this, we are going to use lead belcher. So we'll use lead belcher in this one. I'm just going to shake it up on my machine. Just switch cameras whilst we're doing that. In fact, we can go here, can't we? There we go. So I'll just shake up my paint so she's ready. I'm going to just open her up and place a little bit onto our wet palette. So it's a new piece of paper on our wet palette, so which is always nice. Nice to start fresh. So let's place the silver off to one side. And let's get this model ready. Okay, so we're going to go for a real light coating here, so I just want to make sure I've not got too much on my brush. And I'm just going to drag it very lightly across so it brings out some of the detail but not filling every single space. Just go lightly around the edge. Oh, the music's gone very dramatic. So in case any of you that are watching are wondering what music this is, it's an app that I use for my Dungeons and Dragons games that I do at home, and it's called Pocket Bard. I talk about it all the time just because I love it. I think it's a really good app. There's an element that's free and there's an element that's paid for. But yeah, it's an absolute genius app. So here we go. I did go a little bit over on the gloves there, so I'm going to have to go back. But can you see just about on there? If I change camera, actually, we should be able to see. There we go. So you can see just about on the gloves, you've got a little bit of depth in between there. We can add some washes or some oils into that, so some Nuln oil just to bring it out a little bit more, and I'll probably do that. As you can see here, it just makes it on the armour shoulder piece. It makes it stand out on this part. But we'll do that on the glove. But that looks quite good. So I'm happy with that. Let's swing the model round and let's get the other glove gone or done. So again, sometimes you've got to paint these at a really funny angle. So let's just try and get in here. Oh. See, and when it does go at a funny angle, you split your brush hairs or something like that, or you end up getting it not quite right. But that's okay. Remember, model painting is all about the fun of it and just getting round the sort of difficulties and taking your time. So as we go down here, let's just cap off those edges. Cap off those edges on the side here. And oh, come on, there we go. It's where you get little sticky out bits like this here, and you try and go round it and then you miss it. So I've gone round and I've got some silver here on his cape, so I'm going to have to go over that, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. Don't drop the model and break him, Steve. But we are there, so that doesn't look too bad. So I have noticed a little bit of overspill on blue actually from his jacket that we did. But we might be able to rescue that with some other bits and bobs. So I also noticed some overspill on his armour as well. So let's just cap that off. Just add a little bit on there. So there we go. I might need a bit more actually because the blue's just shining through. Remember, when you're painting, you only want a very thin amount of paint, because you don't need it to be super thick, then you lose all the detail of the model. So less is more, peeps, less is more. So it looks like we've got a couple of you in chat, or watching at least. How are you this evening? Happy Friday. If you're there, feel free to drop a comment in. Say hello, tell me how your week's been, if it's been good or bad. Well, it looks okay. Alright, so let's just wash our brush off there. Let's just change our camera just so you can see it from a different angle. Yeah, so wash our brush off and then let's try and just get some of that cape that I've just overshot. So you're going to find that. You're going to make mistakes on these models. It's absolutely fine. Don't panic. Just make sure you tidy them up. So in this case, I'll put a little dab in my wet palette, but you don't always have to water it down. Especially if you've got a dark colour. You might find that that dark colour you end up having to use a thicker paint just to cover it, just for that little area. But that's, again, not a problem. Ah, so Friday, what's Honey Ann 42 saying? Got off work early and excited to join the live. Yes! Backwheel NM. Hi, happy Friday, Backwheel. Hope you're doing alright. Hope you've been racing around on that backwheel. I assume that's what it means. So, Honey Ann's got off work early. I wish I got off work early. Not quite so lucky. But, nonetheless, we will continue. So where were we before I jumped in on that chat there? Yeah, we were just tidying up some of that. So I want to start giving a little bit of sort of depth and 3D effect to these arms. See where the jacket here, this blue jacket, sort of has ripples. So I'm just going to try and run a little bit of oil in between there. So I'm going to use this Agrath Urk shade, and I'm just going to place that across. Bearded Veteran, how you doing, brother? Hope you're well. Happy Friday all. See, once one person starts talking, everybody starts talking then. So here on the model, let's change the camera again just so you can get a better look. Here we go. Alright, so I've got some of this shading, and I just want to run it across here a little bit, just to give it a little bit of depth in the crevices. I mean, you can slosh it across the whole entire lot. It's not a drama, but sometimes when you do that, it kind of spoils it. So I just wanted to see what it looks like without hitting the entire arm, and just giving it a little bit of colour through the shading. So again, on here, there's not a lot of areas on this side to shade, but you can just put a little line across. Oh, I'm out of focus. There we go. You can put a little line across there, is what I've done. I'm going to stick a little bit in there as well, just because that's a darker area, or would be a darker area. So let's just stick that in there like that. Let's flip a model over, see what we've got on this side. Okay, so there's a little tiny bit along here, so we could just follow that line and just stick the colour in there, or the shade in rather. There we go. So it just covers it up, gives it that depth. I don't know if I'm happy with that. I'll try it, see what it looks like when it comes out, once it's all dry, but we'll see. Just need to connect that line there. Oh, I keep on popping out of camera view. Just needed to connect that line there. I'm not sure whether I'll end up doing the whole lot or not, but we'll see. I have noticed a little bit of overrun on the silver though, so I will correct some of that. I need to find my blue. What blue did I use? That's the question. It's the only thing that I forget once I've done, you know, 1 or 2 colours. I end up forgetting what bloody colours I've used. So what's in the chat? Apart from Honey Ann saying hi, apart from Backwheel saying hi, apart from Bearded Veteran saying hi, Bearded Veteran saying he's good. Thanks for your positive comment on the server. It meant a lot. Oh, mate, absolutely. So, context to Bearded Veteran's comment there. And Bearded Veteran runs his own YouTube channel. He does models as well. It's not always like these kind of 32mm type models. I'll change my camera whilst I'm talking. I'm mixing a paint. Bearded Veteran does other sort of larger scale models. So things like your Airfix and things like that he does. So sort of planes, tanks, all that sort of good jazz. But a really good channel. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, hop over to Bearded Veteran. He does those things on there. But there was someone giving a bit of a crappy comment on his channel. You know, there's always going to be negative people, bro. I do care that whether people like my stream, of course I do. But I'm also not going to be too fussed by negative Nellies, you know, and sort of boring gits and people like that, you know. Just swore, probably tripped a YouTube problem up there. But yeah, don't let the douchebags get you down, bro. Last thing in the world you want to do, listen to idiots like that. You know, never a good thing to do, especially on a Friday, man. It's Friday. It's like the weekend. Don't want to be listening to douchebags on a Friday. So I've just covered a little bit of silver that was overrunning on his chest armour. So let's switch cameras. So we had in here a little bit. You can see it looks kind of silver, but it's not. It's wet. But there was a little bit of overrun in here. So I'm just wanting to get right in there. Very carefully, just drop a little bit. Ah, darn! I've gone over the edge. I've just gone over the edge of the belt there. See, I'm using too big a brush. I do have semi-shaky hands, so so yeah. So you have to be a little bit careful sometimes when you got this kind of miniature painting and you're trying to go real small. So let's just change up brushes. So we need to correct that, but we'll correct that once it dries a little. Where else did I see? I saw something else. Oh, that was it. We were just going to drop a bit of shade into those knuckles, weren't we? So for that, we are going to use the 6.Minis-N oil. So let's shake it up. This again, you just drop it into. It looks like a. We get it in there. It looks like a very runny, watery ink, and you can just use it to drop into the crevices. It's the same stuff that we used on his beard, just to give it that 3D texture. So what I wanted to do was just drop it over the his sort of knuckle dusters that he's got, just to fill in any of the gaps where, because that's a really hard position to paint in. So I just wanted to make sure that I can fill in any of the gaps, because when you're painting such an awkward position, sometimes you overrun, overspill or whatever. So go back, fill in the crevices, give it that 3D look. Same on this side as well. So let's just drop a bit of ink here, and you'll see the eyes start to light up a little bit more. So very fine amounts of sort of ink that you're, or shade that you're dropping across the model here. You can see the eyes already look a bit darker. There we go. If I just tilt it that way, you can see. Let's just run a bit across here, just to cover off the. I think this is meant to be like a dwarven beard or something, or a mask perhaps. But there you go. That's all you need. Just a little tiny bit. I think that's more than enough. Gosh, when I look around the model though, because this is something I do with you guys on a Friday. I don't paint this model otherwise, but I've only been doing it for the channel. So when I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, I've missed that bit. Oh, I've missed that bit. So there's so many bits I've missed, but that's okay. We'll get there. Let's just hop into chat quick. So what's Bearded Veteran saying? He's saying a 3-hour live stream, and the person whinged about a 10-minute discussion whilst giving positive feedback about the rest. Yeah, man. Honestly, it's genuinely not worth stressing about them kind of people. There's probably a million jillion people that would stream into Minis-N-Muscles and they might hate it. Well, you know, that's absolutely fine. YouTube is a big place, right? And this channel, along with your channel and any others, will appeal to certain people, and those people will find you. They'll love you and appreciate you for what you do. So don't worry about them kind of haters. They're normally the bell ends of life anyway, that have nothing better to talk about. Alright, so here we go. Just giving a little bit of colour to the bracelet that's on Grombrindle's arm, because we missed that before. If you notice, whenever I'm painting, I don't have particularly steady hands, so I always have to try and sort of stabilise myself. And I use the floor, so wherever, you know, I'm using the table that I'm on, plus I'm using my hands and my forearms rested on the table, and then I even place my finger gently on the model just to stabilise myself, because I do have shaky hands. It's probably an old man problem, but because I don't drink, so it's not that. There we go. So that's one done. Have we missed a little bit in there? It's a little dark recess just there. I'll just try and get that slightly. There we go. Okay, so that's good. We're good on that one. I don't think he had one on the other arm. No, we're all sweet there. He does have small little studs across there, so we're probably going to have to fill those as well. So they're tiny little specks of silver. So again, if we bust out the silver, when you have, I don't know if you can make them out, but just here where my paintbrush is, there's a couple of little studs that are on his glove. They're really hard to do. So what I tend to do is get a slightly larger than normal, I need a bit more paint on my wet palette, but a slightly larger than normal dollop of paint. Find that dollop of paint, stick it on the end of your brush, and almost like you've got a ball of paint on the end, and very slowly and cautiously go towards the model to where your bit is and just dink it on the end. Literally just dink it on the end. I've done that and got a bit of overspill, but that's fine. We can mop that up. So that's working all right at the moment. Need a bit more, because if you get too little on your brush, you end up overspilling badly, because you have to press really hard on that area to get any paint off, and that's not what you want. You want just the teeny tiniest amount of paint to drop off your paintbrush. Sometimes with these small areas as well, you might find that you need to attack it from a couple of different angles, just because in the different areas, as you look at the model, you won't be able to see that little feature. You'll see it from one angle but not the other, and you want your model to try and be reflected in the best light possible. So again, small little dinks just on that little bit. There we go. And again, I'm going to come at it from this angle now, just because I missed that a minute ago. Very carefully, just putting tiny little dinks on there. So what else is everyone up to? It's Friday. What plans have you got? So we've had Honey Ann, we've had Back Wheel, we've had Bearded Veteran in the comments so far. What's your plans, guys, for the weekend? What are you doing? Where are you going? Are you doing anything cool? Are you seeing anybody cool? Maybe you're going to some kind of geek event of some sort. Tell me more. I think in America at the moment, if you're out in the US, they've got Gen Con going on, which is a bit like Comic Con, but run by a different organisation, of course. Yeah, there's lots of things going on. I don't have any geeky things this weekend. Oh, my homebrew Dungeons and Dragons game, my group there, we've sort of finished because summer holidays and things like that and people away and stuff. We've kind of finished for the next month. I've also got some work trips, so I can't run my Dungeons and Dragons group. Oh. I'm going to miss my geeky friends. So if any of my geeky friends are listening tonight, or they're watching, hello, hello. Right. So, he's looking pretty good though. You can just about make out those little dots. That one on the left needs tidying up, but you can make out those dots. Let's just find our brown that we used, and whilst we do that, we'll change the camera back just so you can see my face for 2 seconds. I think we used Doom Bowl Brown, I think. So it was this one here for his gloves. Right. So just mixing this up, which will be good. Okay, into the wet palette with a little dip there. Just take a little bit off the edge of your brush, you don't need too much. So let's go at it again. Just cover up those little mistakes, there we go. And again, when you're going in with covering up, you can go in with a little bit more on the brush than what you would normally have, because you want it to run off really quickly. You don't want to be pressing really hard. So if you've got a little bit of excess on the brush, that's absolutely fine. Because I find that it just runs off easier. So when you come to let it put a little bit of paint on, it just drops off and you don't end up over painting the area. In the chat, old Back Will is saying he's going to get out in the sun for sure. Yes, my man. Get out in the sun. Enjoy it. Make sure you get out there. You definitely want to get out in the sun. Definitely. So yeah, make sure you do that, brother. Don't forget, as long as you're doing it safely with your sunscreen and your hat and all the rest of it. There's my old man tip for you. Right, what do I need to do here? Oh, I've just noticed there's a small ring on his finger. We should probably paint that, shouldn't we? So if we've got that colour there, let's add a bit of gold in. Just add that to the wet palette. Again, I'm having to add all my colours back into the wet palette because it's a new paper that's inserted onto it, or a new liner. So there we go. Get the ring painted. Just making sure the chat's all good. So what am I going to do this weekend? Well, I think I'm probably going to head out for a walk after this, because I've done hardly any steps. So I'm going to do that for starters, because I feel like I've been a bit lazy today. So there you go, you can just about see here again if I switch camera. I don't know why it looks more zoomed here, but it does, so we'll use it. So you can see his ring there that I've just painted. Ooh, misses. Oh, he's got one on this hand as well, so best do that. Want me a little bit more paint. There we go. Just add that in. So, last session we talked about board games, and I know I sort of mentioned in the end of last stream that we'll go back and talk about Warhammer again, although we had a whole stream, but it's a very short stream about Warhammer. I just wanted to cover it off again, purely because I felt that there was so much to talk about that I never got to talk about with you guys. So, here we go. So, you may remember that I mentioned that I had my first ever game of Warhammer, the other weekend. That was absolutely brilliant. What a great game. Really enjoyed it. So, for those of you who don't know, what is Warhammer? Excuse me. So Warhammer is basically you collect a lot of these little miniatures. In fact, I've got a box over here which I can grab. You collect these miniatures. They come in a nice, pretty box. And you collect these little miniatures. You paint them. We actually build them first. There's a lot of building to do with the majority of Warhammer miniatures. So you use sort of plastic glue, and you use little snippers to cut out the models because they come on what's called a sprue. In fact, I can show you. So they come on a sprue that looks like this. If I can get one out. Here we go. It comes on one of these. So lots of little plastic parts. You can see that this one's already black. They come grey. I've sprayed this, so it's kind of pre-primed. But they come on sprues, and you cut them all out. You glue them all together. So that's like part one of the model building. So you build a model. Then after that, you have the choice to paint them. You paint them whatever colour you like. There are different sort of laws and rules, so you can paint it as you see fit. But you paint it the colour of your choice, and then with that model you build them up, and you build what's called an army, and you can play against someone else in a game where you roll lots of dice and try and shoot or hack and slash at your opponent to wipe their models off the board. Very fun game. I played with two buddies of mine, and we'll be playing again soon as well in a couple of weekends time. And really good game. I enjoyed it so much I thought, I need to talk more about it. I said in a previous stream that I started many moons ago just painting models I never played. So I started to collect the Sisters of Battle. That's what this, it's actually called Adeptus Sororitas, which is these ladies here. So it's a whole entire army built upon ladies. They're kick-ass. So they're super tough, super cool, kick-ass chicks. And I'm going to paint that army and build them up. So I've got lots of models that I need to paint. I've got a massive pile of shame, which is really bad, trying to get through it. So I have been painting in the background lots of different miniatures like these. I mean, these are far from finished, but lots of different miniatures like these, and starting to put them together. So I've got those that I've been painting, and some others as well, including this little lady here, which is a leader. She's not all put together yet, but you can just about make out. If I bring her a bit closer, you can make out some of the detail on her. She's got lots to be finished, but that's kind of what I'm painting on the side at the moment. So painting those up, you've got the Warhammer game where you play against each other. So it's really cool just to get with your mates, chill out, talk a load of geek stuff, roll a few dice, have a laugh, you know, and have that sort of competitive element of trying to kill the other person's army. I really enjoyed it and absolutely loved it. Oh, what have we got in the comments just come through, actually? When you play D&D, do you have any special or favourite dice? I do. So that is a question from Hells. I do have, do play D&D regularly. Not often as a player, but more as a dungeon master. So the difference is the player sort of chooses one character and they will play as that character throughout the whole game. The dungeon master plays as like all the enemies and sets the scene. But I do play as the dungeon master majority of the time, and I do have a favourite dice. I've got a couple, but I do have one special dice that's pretty cool that I've had for a little while. Yeah, and you know, sometimes things like your dice and that become sentimental, or they become special value for certain reasons. So yeah, I do have a couple. But yes, back to Warhammer. Yeah, so I then bought a book about the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas, that I'm collecting, because I was like, oh, I need to learn more about them. I thought, right, okay, so I will start to read the books on them. So I've started reading the books, and crikey, there's so much to read and get through. Like, there really is a lot to sort of to chow down on, so to speak. It's really, really complicated. But lots of rules, but lots of fun. So, and the law is quite interesting, where you can read about special characters and things like that that are in your army that you might want to use, or you might think are cool. So yeah, so I'm collecting those at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very cool. It's very different from D&D, but in a good way. I do think it's nice to have, you know, several different hobbies of certain sorts. There we go, just touch up this little bit here. There we go. Right, so I've got that there. Okay, so where was I? I was just doing that bit. Yeah, so D&D is very cool. Warhammer is very cool. I like that a lot. So I chose the Sisters of Battle because, firstly, they're an all-female army. Not because I'm like pro-girl or whatever. I don't care whether you're girl, boy, dog. You know, for me, it's just about enjoyment of the game. And what I liked about the Sisters of Battle is they just look kick-ass. So again, if I bring up this box to show you guys, I just think that the colours are really cool. In fact, I can bring it here, can't I? There we go. So you should be able to see the miniatures here. They just look really cool. So the Sisters of Battle, some people call them nuns with guns. So they are like a religious order that are heavily faith-based, which I thought was also quite a nice thing, given the current times in the world. So, heavily faith-based, the only female army in Warhammer. So again, I thought that was another cool thing. And they just look kick-ass. I like that black and red tone, and they've all got white hair, and it just really stands out. So when you're looking at your miniatures on a table, they just look cool in comparison to the rest, or in my opinion they do. So yeah, I'm starting to collect those, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's very, very cool. I do have some Space Marine as well. So Space Marine are the sort of poster boys of Warhammer 40,000. So I do have some of those, and they are, I've got to admit, they are cool. I do like them, but not quite as much as I like the Sisters of Battle. Sisters of Battle they're just awesome. I like them a lot. So what else am I going to say about that? Oh yeah, so things like unique characteristics and things like that. I don't know a huge amount so far about Warhammer, so it's very difficult for me to talk too much about unique characteristics. But one thing I like about the Sisters of Battle is that they have a thing called miracle dice. So obviously it's a game where you're rolling dice, right? And Sisters of Battle benefit from, if a model dies or under certain circumstances in the game, you get a thing called a miracle dice. And it's a dice that you can store and use later, as it suggests, in when you need a miracle. So it's quite a cool little ability, and I've not seen any other armies that do that. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. Nice, I'll play as those. So far, my journey into collecting those has been very cool. There are some books on them, actually, which I would love to get, on some of their lead characters. So what the Warhammer world does do really well, despite being very expensive, is they have like a variety of different genres of how you can get into the hobby. So they have things like the models to paint. So some people just paint the models. Some people just play the game, as in they'll paint the models, but they're not really fussed, but all they want to do is play the game. And then you get the lore side of it. So this is like the reading of the books and like these special characters, like this chick here, this lady here. Just move him that way for a sec. Her name is Canoness Viridian. And she's super cool. She hasn't got arms at the moment, so don't think that's how she stays. She's not finished. But she's super cool. And like she has some lore about her. And that's just really cool, finding out like the background of why people are doing what they're doing and what made them so cool or tough or angry. I love that. I think it's a really nice touch because it just gives some realism to the world and why they're here, and you know why you're playing as them. It gives you a little bit of like an incentive. Well, why are you fighting for the Sisters of Battle? Well, you know, many moons ago this happened and blah 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 blah. So I'm starting to unearth all of that at the moment. I have on the sort of backside, when I'm got some spare time, I do read Warhammer books as well, or I started to read a Warhammer book, should I say. Oh no, I've got a load of paint on my finger. Where did I get that from? That's not good. One thing you never want to do, look, is you get paint on your finger like this, and then you're holding your model, and you get paint all over your model. That's not a good sign. What was I saying? Yeah, about the books. Yeah, I got a Warhammer book, and I started reading, and it's very, very cool. It's just I'm such a slow reader, and I do so many other bits and bobs. I don't get round to doing it, and hopefully my friend isn't watching that said I should read the books, because she'll be really disappointed that I've not got any further. But yeah, but they're really cool. They are really detailed, and if you like sort of that fantasy sci-fi grimdark type setting, and by grimdark I mean a hideous future world that has no hope and is full of like dark, horrible moments that you would never want to sort of normally talk about, but in grimdark it happens. So that's quite cool. That's why I like that. Yeah, so that's the kind of Warhammer world at the moment that I'm sort of investigating. I'm doing all this investigating on behalf of you, the viewers, to tell you what I think is the best or the worst. And I'm also doing it for the fun. I can't say as Burt Reynolds would for the money, because I don't get no money for it. Just Games Workshop take my money instead. Oh, if anyone can recognise that quote that I was talking about, Burt Reynolds said, and the film it comes from, stick it in the chat. I'd be intrigued to know if any of you know what film it was. But it's my favourite film of all time. Right. That's that little brassy section done. So now we've got that done, I think the last little bit is the compass. So you can see the tiny little compass there. Let's get some gold onto that, because this model hasn't got enough gold and bling in it already. So let's give him some more bling. Let's make sure we cover off all the sections. Not sure whether I like this background music today. There's lots of different options in Pocket Bard, so it's not like you're restricted to one. I think is this the desert theme? I can't remember. It's their new one. I thought I'd try it out. So I haven't used it for a game yet. But I'm not sure if I like it from this setting, as in Minis-N-Muscles chatting stuff, you know. But we'll change it up in a minute, perhaps. So in chat, who is doing what this weekend? Oh, we've got some more chat going in here. So you should call the forward camera muscle cam, since the overhead camera is mini cam, as forward one is dominated by your head and biceps. Muscle cam. Okay. Oh, that's a lovely blue. There's Mira Manga in the chat. Hi, Mira. I was just talking about how you'd be disappointed with me not reading fast enough. But yeah, he's cool, isn't he? He's a cool character so far. He's really coming along. So yeah, I need to rename my camera into the muscle cam. Alright, maybe I shall do that. Because this is the place where the brawn meets the brush. So yes, we are talking a lot of muscle stuff, as we always do. We'll get to that shortly. In fact, we could talk about some now. Why not? We can do the order any way we want. And seeing as people are talking about muscles, why don't we talk about it for a little bit? So what I wanted to talk about with you guys on muscles side this week was form and technique. So the reason why I wanted to talk about form and technique is because I used to have a fitness page on Instagram. This is a couple of years ago, right? So I had a couple of thousand followers on Instagram. I used to do a fitness page. And the reason why I stopped is because all I saw on there all the time was these... Not that all 20-year-olds are unknowledgeable, but saw 20-year-old kids talking crap on there, and it used to drive me mad. Oh, Mira, you're saying you just licked your brush? Yes, you have to. If you'd have joined, or if you'd seen on one of the earlier streams, you have to lick your brush. Have to do it. Because you don't have to. It's just a bad habit that I've got. So yeah, do all hobbyists do it? I think they probably do to a point. Bearded Veteran saying, hell no, just the ones with the paint poisoning. Hey, these paints are all water-based, so I'm good. If you're going to... Do not lick your brush if you're using paints that are not water-based. In fact, don't do it at all. Don't copy me. I'm a mentalist. Don't do it. But yes, Mira, I do that all the time. It's crazy. I don't know why I do it. I do know why I do it, actually. I'm lying. I do it because if you look on the brush, so to get it into that like fine point, this is a flat brush, that's why it looks a bit odd when you go that way or that way. But to get it into a fine point or something like this brush, so if I just lay that there, you know, it's really fine. Sometimes when you're cleaning the brush in the water, it becomes a little bit, it goes a little bit off. And just to get it into that fine point, I just, a quick one, it's not a problem. Which paint is the tastiest? Oh my lord. Well, I should tell you that, what's this one? This is Screaming Bell is the most tastiest, followed by World Bearers Red. No, I haven't got a clue. I don't have a clue which one is the tastiest. I don't grade them. Haven't put them in my sandwich. Don't have them on my chips. So I have no clue. And I'm not going to find out either. I'm not going to find out. Because that would be bad to do, and YouTube will ban me for telling people to lick brushes. But I just think it's just some things that some hobbyists do, some don't. As my buddy Bearded Veteran pointed out, some don't. And is for very good reason, because you would not want to be poisoned by paint, quite frankly. So yes, please be safe. So what's people saying? Bearded Veteran, we had a lad in our company that used to drink the water out of his polish tin after bullying his boots. It was grim to watch. Oh man, that is gross. Polish, that's really bad. Like this ain't good for you, and it's water based, but it is water based. Polish, oh my lord, that is nuts. I don't think I could do that. Mira saying World Bearers would not taste good. Oh yeah, I know, right? Full of death, decay, and hideousness. And anger. Do you think you could taste anger? For those who don't know, well, maybe Mira will jump in the chat and tell us all, but the world bearers are meanies in the Warhammer world. They're not good. Well, they were good, should we say, right? The world bearers were good, and then they changed and they became meanies, and they now in the 40,000, the world of 40,000 Warhammer, they're bad guys. So yeah, they're not good. You don't want to mess with them. I've just painted a tiny little bit on that compass. Oh, let's just turn it that way. You can see, if I get it the right angle, there you go, just the little compass needle itself. So I just need to, I've just gone over. World bearers, Steve, I had to head out to pick up some groceries. Oh no! World bearers are baddies. Yes, they are baddies indeed, Mira. Thank you for wishing me a good stream. I hope you get your groceries. You should tell us, come back and tell us all what you get. If you're there whilst you're at the shop, if you could get me a little chocolate something, it'd be much appreciated. Have a good one. But yes, what else were we talking about? So I kind of lost my flow a bit. I got a bit sidetracked. Oh, we're talking about fitness, weren't we? Crikey, we're having our muscle moment. So yeah, I was talking about how it annoyed me that. Oh god, we've got more paint questions. Do metallic paints taste metallic? They don't taste anything because I washed the brush. I washed the brush and I just do that to get it to a point. I'll get you a lion bar. Thank you, Mira. Bye. Get me a lion. Yeah. So being adventurous saying metallic paints. I have no clue, mate. Genuinely, I wash the brush. I do wash the brush. I have a pot of water right here. As you see, I've talked about having a fresh pot of water every session when you paint. So I wash the brush in there, and then and then I lick it. It's just weird. It's just a habit, I think. But it's it's okay. Just don't copy me, kids. If you're at home, please don't copy me or sue me. Yeah, it's a bad thing to do, so don't do it. I'm just crazy. So don't listen to Steve on that part. Everything else is fine. Just that part, just don't. Yeah, so we're talking about fitness. And form and technique. Yes, get back to it, Steve. So form and technique. Massively, massively, massively important when you're doing exercises, right? Let's just change camera for a sec. So, when you're doing your exercise, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a bicep curl. It could be a sit-up. It could be a plank. Whatever that is, a push-up. Something simple, right? You must make sure that your form is correct. So, the reason why your form must be correct is so that you properly work the muscle that you're trying to target. For example, right? Quite often you go into the gym and you see people throwing around weights. So people, because sometimes a gym is a bit of an ego pit, right? So you will go there and you will find people throwing around the biggest weights they can find because they want to grunt, they want to shout, and they want to, impress people. Some people do anyway. Rather sad individuals, but they will do that. Now, what you'll find they do, let's take bicep curl as the example. They'll stand there. In fact, if I move my chair a second, and if I just come around this way, so when they're doing it, they'll go up like this, but they'll be doing this, and they'll be like throwing their body rather than standing still and isolating the arm. So get your arm. In fact, I need to stand up a little bit more. So there we go. Right. So I'm in a lunge position right now. So rather than having your arms swing all the way around everywhere, you need to isolate the arm, keep the elbow pinned in, and bring up the arm nice and slowly, right? So it's not too. You're not swinging all over the place. So your arm is just kept still. So you're focusing on the bicep. It doesn't matter necessarily on the bicep in this scenario, and in fact quite a few muscle groups actually, whether you extend all the way down and bring it all the way up. Because even if you come to there, and even if you stop about there, so if I bring up a little bit, if you stop there, and you're doing this, to there, the muscle is under contraction the whole time, and that's the aim, right? You want to get that muscle under contraction and work it. So pin the arm in, bring it all the way up, bring it down. If I'm just doing this, that's never going to work the desired muscle. So when you're looking at things like form and technique, think about what you're trying to work out. See, it's a muscle cam, yeah. Think about what you're trying to work out and just take time. So take your time, go down a weight. Trust me, even I do it, go down a weight. And I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but you have to go down weight so you can then sit there and go, right, I need to do a proper workout. I guarantee you, I could take any one of you into the gym and get you screaming from doing a lighter weight than what you normally do just because you do the exercise properly. So it's form and technique. Look at, excuse me, look at the exercise you're trying to do, dissect each exercise, read a book on it, and then take the time to do the exercise slowly and correctly. Then you will get maximum output. By maximum output, I mean the body you desire in the shorter amount of time. If you're doing it all over the place, it's going to take you forever. So I was saying here, when you finish your session, do you look like a kid that's been caught with chocolate around their mouth? Oh, you're talking about eating my paints? No, because there's no paint on my brush, bearded veteran, all right? But yeah, it's been known as a child that happened. But yeah. So that is what I wanted to talk about, form and technique. Another part that you could consider that's quite a widely spoken topic in the world of fitness is what should you work out? When you go to work out, what should you work out? Should you focus on individual muscle parts? Should you do an all over body workout? Should it be push and pull? What should you do? So this is a really difficult question to answer. I ask myself this all the time, even when I'm in the gym. The answer that I think is the most appropriate answer for anybody, the workout you should do is the workout that you enjoy. So if you like going to the gym and only working your biceps, even though it's the smallest muscle group or one of the smallest muscle groups, and you enjoy it and you love it and you're getting results from it, do it. Like all I used to do until very recently, just because I got bored of it, was work individual muscle groups. So what's he saying? Steve's got the Kung flu. Quick, everyone mask up so you don't catch a computer virus. Oh, thanks. I haven't got the computer virus, I promise. Snot onto the camera. That'd be hilarious. But no, what I used to do in terms of workout is I used to work muscle groups only. So I would pick bicep, and I'd work my bicep. 6 exercises, 3 sets per exercise, and I would do 10 to 12 reps. That's it. I'm just trying to think of everything I used to do. So 6 exercises, 3 sets of each, 10 to 12 reps. And I would go biceps, and that's all I do, different bicep type variation exercises, whether it was hammer curl, followed by bicep curl, followed by preacher curl, followed by whatever. And I just absolutely obliterate the muscle group. And that's exactly how I got to where I am right now, right? Yes, I started doing weights in 2016, so I used to do a lot of cardiovascular before. But, that's, it's taken all this time to get to this point, but that's all I did. Just isolated muscle groups. So if you work on that. If you like to do push and pull exercises, do a push day, do a pull day, do that. Whatever works best. And lastly, what I wanted to talk about on the muscle moment is protein shakes, or actually it's supplements. So what supplements should you use, should you have, should you take, should you consider? And the answer to that is, firstly, what can you afford? So can you afford to do protein shakes or creatine or whatever? And then secondly, after you've worked out what you can afford, you then look at 2 things I would suggest: protein and creatine. That's it. If you can afford a supplement and you can add that into your dietary requirements or sort of dietary regime, protein and creatine. That's the only 2 supplements I've got in my house. I've got, what's it called? I can't remember. I think it's this USN, I think is the brand of protein powder. and I can't remember what the creatine was, but I use monohydrate creatine because it's not in my protein powder. So it's monohydrate creatine is a powder that you add to water. Just take that every day, and it helps with muscle repair, muscle growth. Also helps you look a little bit more defined, I feel, as well. That's my own personal experience through it. And then I've got protein to aid and repair the muscles and help recovery after a workout, and that's what I do. Yeah, so the two supplements I would recommend anyone taking. I don't think you need to go into other crazy things. Apart from that, just eat healthy. That is all you should need. But anyway, back to the muscles. Oh, what's it said here? Is there an exercise that you really hate doing, but do it because you know it will give you the results you want? Oh yeah, shit yeah, all of them. Like, oh, I swore. Damn, that's probably twice now. YouTube police are going to have me. But exercise-wise, what do I hate? I hate them all because they're horrible. I don't go to the gym to mop my brow with a towel, to take a slurp from a water bottle and look cool. I look disgusting when I'm in the gym. I sweat. I look a mess. I've not done my hair. I've got sweat all over my vest. It's like hanging off me. You know, I look an absolute state. I pull the most grim faces when I'm like working out, because every session I work out till I personally, and I'm not recommending this, I personally, when I work out till I am literally absolutely knackered and cannot lift or do anything else. So if I'm doing, I don't know, leg press, for example, I'll do it till literally, the phrase is that I quite like using is work out until that muscle is shaking like a pooping dog. Exchange pooping for the S word, right? So if you're doing leg press, if your legs are like literally shaking as you're pushing out and you're coming back, you know that you're at your limit. So when I finish that set, I literally get off that machine or put down that weight and I'm like, ugh, and I have to sit down for a second. So I actually hate, I don't think there's one exercise I necessarily enjoy. I like the after effect, that's different, but there's not one exercise that I actually enjoy. I hate them all. They're horrible. But it's all good because it's good for body and mind, man, and that's where we're at. So let's take a look at our mini and let's get back into Grom Brindle after our muscle moment. Look how cool he looks, right? This guy is pretty much, well, I'd say he's table ready. Although he hasn't got no eyes or eyebrows, he's table ready. He looks pretty sweet. Like, look at that little orc shield on the back. I love him. He's cool. I love the details in this mini. That's one thing Games Workshop do well, is they do a nice detailed mini. So we've got the eyes and the eyebrows to do. This is going to be tricky. So, as I swap across to this camera, there are some colours that you need to get ready if you're going to do some eyes and some eyes and pupils with me. It's these two colours. So we've got Abaddon Black and we've got Rathbone. Okay, Abaddon Black and Rathbone. So let's shake these up. Beatovich saying, I get that, just like sitting down and standing up. Yeah, mate, same. I get that as well. Weirdly today, I don't know why, I felt out of breath. Like, literally, like, oh god, my paint shaker's not working. Getting up and what was I doing? I was even sitting still at one point and I felt out of breath. I don't know whether I'm like, I don't know, like a hay fever type thing. It just feels really tight on my chest today. But I have felt a bit funky, so yeah, so God knows. But I'm just shaking up my colours right now, getting these ready. So it's my Abaddon Black and my Rathbone, or Wraithbone, is it? Yeah, Wraithbone. Sorry, Wraithbone, not Rathbone. So shaking those up. Right, let's get some of this into our wet palette. So we're ready to rock and roll. And then we'll go through a little tip and trick on how to do eyes. And we'll try to do it here, now, in the live. We'll see how effective that is. Right. There you go. Give it a little lick. Let's swap cameras across to the minicam. Here he is. Okay. What we want to do. You must make sure that your paints are nice and thin. Do not try this with a shed ton of paint. Do not worry either if we go over. You'll see that I'll go over in a minute. But you get the Rathbone or Wraithbone and you just go over the eye area. If you go over a little bit, look there, I've gone over the cheek. So what? Doesn't matter. Okay? I'll show you why in a minute because we'll close all that up and seal it in. Same on the other side. So again, the axe is in the way. So a bit of a pain in the backside position to do, but there we go. Right. Okay, we also need our skin colour. I forgot about that. So Grombrindal's skin colour was, I think it was Kislev Flesh. Yes, so it's this colour here. Kislev Flesh, I'll shake that up. So as you can see, the first thing you do is get the Wraithbone and put it into the sockets where your eyeballs are, right? So that is the first bit. Bearded Veteran saying, had you looked at the AK Real Colour acrylic paint pens? Apparently they're really good for doing details. Even the yellow only needs one coat. No, I've never seen that. That's proper cheaty. I've never seen that, but I like it. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that, but I will have to give it a go. I'm just adding some flesh tone into my wet palette just so that's ready and prepped. So we've got the white in there. Now, again, give it a little time for that white to just dry off. Next part is the eye itself, so the pupil. I always go for black just because it's easy to paint on and it stands out. You can of course go for another colour, but this is quite easy. Again, make sure you haven't got too much black on your paintbrush and make sure it runs off nice, okay? All you're going to do is look at roughly where you think the eyeballs should be and you're going to draw a line straight down. It doesn't matter if you go over the skin. A line straight down one side. And then you're going to go the other side and you're going to do the line. Oh, I don't think I've got enough. Oh, I have got just enough. There you go. Just tidy that up a bit. Don't think that side's going to work, so we might have to redo that. But you can see there, I've just done 2 lines. You can see the line, okay? You've got the line, so you've done the white, you've done the lines. Don't panic that it looks absolutely terrible. No, we're not going to make him have some kind of William Wallace style makeup. Now we get our flesh tone. And this is the cool bit, all right? So we're now going to edge around the model itself. So we're just going to start tidying this up. And you'll see almost instantly, even though that pupil on that side is not particularly great, I would probably redo that actually. But we'll see if we can get away with it. So I'm just going to tidy up the edge of this cheek. So sometimes when you go over an area, remember you might need a slightly thicker, not super thick, all right, but a slightly thicker colour. All right, so let's tidy up this side. And all you're doing is tightening in around the eye. See, I don't think we got the pupil in the right space that side. So on this side it's just a bit too far off, whereas this side it's about right. So he's actually got a wonky eye, which is a shame, but that is the process you do. It's really easy, really simple, and hugely effective. You might have to do 1 or 2 passes, right? You might, just to get those eyes right. You can see there, you've got eyes in there. This one on the left is not particularly good. Well, actually, neither are particularly good. So we'll try it again, just to show that, you know, everyone makes mistakes, and everyone can, you know, try again. It's not a problem. So we get our Wraithbone, and we apply some of that to our brush, and we just cover that. And we do the same this side. There we go. We might have to wait a little bit of time actually just for that to dry out. So, because we've just painted a fair amount. I mean, these paints don't take very long to dry anyway. But just to be sure, we might have to wait a little bit of time. So if I swap cameras and leave our Grombrindal here. So yeah, what else I want to talk about today? Some other geeky stuff. I wanted to talk about sci-fi fantasy type films. Alright? So, what are your top 3 movies? What are your top 3 movies, guys? So those in chat, those that are sitting there listening, watching, whatever, what are your top 3 movies? Sci-fi and fantasy type movies. Great question. What makes a good sci-fi fantasy movie? Even better question. I'm going to change my music whilst I'm here as well, just I'm getting bored of this one. Let's try this one. What's this one? Oh, that sounds a bit dark and grim. What about the tavern? Oh. Oh, we can have this for a bit. This is joyful. Oh, we even get singing. Fantastic. I'll turn it down a bit though. But yeah, sci-fi films. What is good, what is not? Actually, I can't have that playing in the background. It's really off-putting. There we go. So, sci-fi films, sci-fi movies. That's what I wanted to talk about because they're cool as crap. What are your best? If you've got a top 3, what would you choose? So, for me, what is my favourite? There's so many cool ones. For me, as well, sci-fi fantasy type movies, I would have to go back to the 80s, or maybe the early 90s, but the 80s, because 80s movies are so cool. Oh, so what's Backwheel saying? Backwheel's saying sci-fi, Back to the Future. Yeah, Back to the Future is an epic movie. Number 1, number 2 is not too bad. Number 3 kind of sucks though, but the musical is very cool. Yeah, Back to the Future is an epic one. Bearded Veteran saying Star Trek films. So is that the new ones or is that the old ones? So here's my thought about older movies and why I like the 80s movies, whether that's things like The Labyrinth, The Princess Bride, all of those sort of old school type movies. I love, and the original Star Wars, that was late 70s though, and early 80s. I love the effort that goes in on scenery. So when you watch a movie nowadays, CGI is pretty cool, but you can always tell that it's fake and it's not really there. Whereas I like the fact there's something quite charming about, let's use Labyrinth as the example. There's something quite charming. The actress is walking around a proper set, and they're sort of exploring and going around. And I feel more like you're part of the adventure that way, or part of the narrative, and that makes it really interesting. So I love that part of films. So for me, 80s films, Labyrinth is up there, definitely. I don't think Jurassic Park would be classed as a sci-fi or fantasy film, but I do like the dinosaurs in that, again for the like puppetry part of it, the original Jurassic Park, not the later ones, but I like them. So Bearded Veteran is saying about Star Trek, all of them, but for different reasons. Okay, see, I've not seen any of the latest ones, and the old ones I saw years ago I can't remember, to be fair, so I can't comment, but I know that that's a sort of contentious piece in the Star Trek world of the real fans. Honey Ann 42 is saying Lord of the Rings. Classic. Lord of the Rings is a great fantasy film. I really like the Lord of the Rings series. I have them all. They're pretty cool. Harry Potter. Actually, Harry Potter are quite good. I didn't watch Harry Potter till it must have been about 3 years ago, I think, when I first watched Harry Potter. I'd never watched it before. I was like, it's a kids' film, rubbish. And I watched it before I went to America, and it was brilliant. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It was actually very cool. So yeah, Harry Potter movies, very good. So yeah, well worth it. What else? Harry Potter films. What else? In fact, as Honey Ann said, Princess Bride. Yeah, Princess Bride. Andre the Giant. What a ledge. And more the books than the movie, but the movie too. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh, okay, yeah. Got ya. I've watched it, but I've not watched it much. So maybe I need to revisit that one and see it again. I can't remember the full plot or anything from that. Goonies. Oh my god, the Goonies. You guys must have seen the Goonies, right? What a movie. What a movie. I think that's a cool movie. Everyone should watch. Everyone should see. So if you haven't seen the Goonies, hire it, download it, rent it, go down Blockbusters if it still exists or wherever it is. Get yourself that movie. So let's go back to our eyes for a second whilst we're talking of movies. We're going to try and get those pupils a little bit better. Right, 1, 2. Right, that looks more square on. Again, don't worry, let's just turn him this way. So don't worry that we've gone over the cheeks, okay? Don't worry, don't matter. We can get rid of that with some heavier Kislev flesh tone. So do not panic at all. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, so Goonies, absolutely brilliant. Oh, my little ones love the Goonies. Yeah, Goonies is cool, right? Goonies is a good movie. Yeah, and I love the fact like they go from, it's a bit like a D&D quest. They go from like place to place to place in these little sort of areas, and they explore that bit, and then they go through that bit, and then they get to the ship at the end, and that's super cool. I do like the Goonies. That's a cool movie. Alright, let's try and cover off this black again. So again, we're going to go around and just tighten it up. Tighten up where that eye would be. Just go around the edge on the cheekbone and bring the colour in. Again, just tighten that up. Right, perfect. Okay, that's good on that side. Can we get a good one on this side? So let's have another look on his cheekbone. Let's just go across here like that. Tighten up round the edge. Actually, that's not too bad. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, let's see if I can get this. Oh god, can I get this any closer to the camera? No, not without it looking a bit odd. So, here we go. Can you see the eyes? There we go. There is Grombrindle in all his joy. Look at that. So, the technique. Apply your flesh tone to the face. Alright, doesn't matter if it's too much. Okay. Next one is, once you've got your flesh tone in, get your Rathbone. Paint around the eye socket area. Don't matter if you go over, don't panic. Once that's dry, very thin layer of black. 2 reasons why it's thin. One, if you make a mistake, you can paint over it. Or if you go down onto the cheek, you can paint over it. 2, you want it to run off the brush really easy. So, get your black. Just go your line straight down, roughly where you think the eyes should be. Okay? Once you've got those lines in, get your flesh tone and then go around and then just bring... close in the eye. So you might have like a big patch, like bigger than my glasses, of where the white is. Just then flesh tone, start bringing it in, tightening it up around the eye. Absolute killer for doing eyes. So there he is, Grombrindle with his little eyes. He is there, he is ready. What's saying in chat? What's the film? So Backwheel is saying, what's that film called where people are shrunk and go through the human body? That is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, is it not? I believe it is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but that's a very funny movie. Yeah, that's a good one. That's an old 90s film, actually. Fantasy Hook. Oh, the original Hook. That's a great shout, Backwheel. Absolutely love that movie. Hook, great movie. The Robin Williams Hook, that is. No other cheap imitations, but it's got to be the Robin Williams one. But that's a really good movie. Absolutely love that. So yeah, I am signed up to that. Let's just give him a little bit of extra flesh tone across this cheek, just to bring that in. Just to tidy it a little bit. perfect. I'm just going to go in there as well. Just across the lips, just to tidy it up. What are we saying here? Saw Fifth Element again the other day. That was good. What, Fifth Element? Fifth Element, Fifth Element. I know now. I can't think of... Is that the girl with the, like, bobbed orange hair? I think. Back we were saying they're in a little submarine and go inside the body. Oh, crikey. Oh, I don't know. If anyone else in chat remember what that is? I can't remember what that film is, to be fair. I thought it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, because in number 2 I think they went inside the body, or number 3 perhaps. But yeah, I can't remember, to be fair. So I'm not sure, Backwheel, which one that is. But I feel like I've seen it somewhere. So all I'm doing now, by the way, is going round on the beard. So, because 2 reasons. I need to give some extra love to his eyebrows, because he currently has none. And I also want to start picking out... I want to start to pick out the areas of his hair, just so it doesn't look so dark. Because right now it looks very, very dark. So I just want to bring a little bit of white back through. But let's do his eyebrows first. So his eyebrows are done. There's his little eyebrows. Right, now where's my dry brush? Because we need a dry brush for this effect. So remember, with dry brushing, it's not a fine detailed brush like this. It is a larger brush that looks like this. Oh, get it in frame. There you go. You want to get some onto your paintbrush, and then you want to try and get the paint off it. I know it sounds really stupid, but you get the paint on it and then you get off it. Then get your model out and you just lightly brush over the top of the area that you want to paint. Okay, lightly brush over the top of the area you want to paint. Sometimes you might need to go back and get a little bit more of the colour, or the desired colour that you want. That's what we're trying to do here. I think we actually run out of colour, so we wanted to get a bit more out. So what's the chat saying? Speedy Veteran saying, sounds like Family Guy when Stewie shrinks himself down. Stewie. Oh, fat man. Hells is saying, do you mean inner space? He goes into the man and the man can hear him. Inner space, that's it. Ah, there we go. Bruce Willis. Oh, God. Ladies will be swooning now over the name I've just said. God. I don't know why, though, Bruce Willis is so popular with chicks. Or ladies, sorry, ladies. I never understood that. So, we're just going across with our model. Just bringing out the white on the top right. So, rather than it look more grey, we're bringing out the white again. And leaving the grey to the what's it called, where the, not dents, the dents in his hair, the shadowed areas, let me call it that. So bringing the white back to the top of the colour of his hair and leaving that sort of darker shading that we did to the real sort of shadowy areas. So we're just bringing that back out so it looks more white than it does grey, and that's what we want. There we go. There we are. So, look at that, just by bringing out that. Look how cool he looks. You see him there? He looks pretty darn sweet. Let's actually change a camera set because we get the larger picture there. There we go. What do we reckon, peeps? He's got his eyes in. He doesn't look like he's looking skew-if. He looks like he's staring straight at you. There we go. That is a tabletop ready Grombrindle. Not perfect. He doesn't have to be. And we are not here for perfection on Minis and Muscles. We are here to take you through painting for beginners so you can do this kind of painting and take a model from the plastic box so he's ready to go on the tabletop. So that is him. That is Grombrindle. He looks epic. So if let's just have a look here. So where's my box? Oh, so here we go. Right, there is Grombrindle on the box. Okay, there he is, and there is our Grombrindle. Should probably turn him that way. There we go. Grombrindle, ours. Grombrindle box. Grombrindle, ours. Grombrindle box. See? Look at that. Yes, the Games Workshop model has some really good detail on him. Okay? That's without denial. Okay? But that's not what we're here for. We're not pros. We are here to get you painting and enjoying painting miniatures. But look, you've got all the detail. You've got that squished orc's head. You've got the orc's shield. You've got all the weaponry around the edge. The rocks, the skeleton. Got Grombrindle himself. So what do you reckon, guys? The first model finished on Minis-N-Muscles. He looks pretty darn sweet. Ah, it's a bit of action saying, looks great, thank you very much. In fact, I should probably leave him there, shouldn't I, so you can see. Backward was saying, awesome, thank you very much. Are you going to varnish him? And if so, which varnish? Or are you going to use different ones? Ah, right. Okay, so it depends. If I know that I'm going to play with the model and use it, I will varnish. So it protects the model, and every time you pick it up, the paint doesn't fall off, right? Or you don't wear it out. If I know that Grombrindle was going into a case and I'm just going to leave him there, I probably wouldn't varnish him. But in this case, I will. In fact, have I got some varnish that I can share with you guys just to show you? If I leave that there, if I do this, that, and if I stand up quickly and get, I'm just looking in my box here for varnish. Right, okay, so this is the last one I had. It's a lacquer, not a varnish. It's Halford's, all right? Halford's branded satin lacquer. That's all it is. It's nothing special. It's nothing decent. It just covers the model, gives it a satin finish, not a shine finish. It's meant for, I think, for cars probably, but it's pretty strong and it lasts. So that's all I use, and it's cheap. So that is the last set of lacquer that I use. So you can do that. Again, up to you guys. However, if you lacquer a model, if you varnish a model, you're buggered if you ever want to repaint or if you want to fix it or change it at a later point. It's a lot harder to then remove everything. So again, something to bear in mind when you're painting, right? You never want to varnish if you're not entirely happy, if there's some things to do, if there's some changes to make. But I'm pretty happy with him. He looks pretty cool. He's more than good enough to go on the table now. So he can stand over there. Let's bring in a new model. So yeah, so that was Grombrindle. I can't believe we painted a model already. So let's bring in whilst we're chatting for the rest of this stream, my other model that I'm painting at the moment. My Canoness Viridian. Just so we've got something to paint. You can see here, actually, this is a good little tip. So I've got here my little file. And on this model, you can see here like a burr line going straight across the head. It looks absolutely ridiculous. That's just the line, the mould line from the model itself. So I'm just going to try and take that off. Although I painted already, I didn't realise how much that burr line stands out. So I've got a file and I'm just going to try and file that down a little bit so it looks a bit better. So yeah, so Geeky Films we were talking about. Geeky Films. And you guys all managed to help Backwheel understand or remember what the name of that film was. I can't even remember that film, to be fair. I cannot remember. Fantastic Voyage sounds good too. Yeah, so Fantastic Voyage not seen, Inner Space not seen. I've not seen either. I don't think. Maybe I have. I just can't remember. But yeah, what others? Oh, we were talking about Lord of the Rings, so I started rewatching all the Lord of the Rings again. I forgot how long some of those new ones are. Crikey, they're long. So they're really, really like, you've got to have some patience for them buggers. I started sitting down trying to watch those, and then I fall asleep after 10 minutes. Oh no, I've just knocked her cape off, darn it. See, sometimes when you're building these models, right, they're so finicky. I've just knocked off the cape that goes on her butt cheeks. They're so delicate sometimes. You've got to be ever so careful. That's why you just do this bit by bit when you're doing things like filing or whatever. It's a bit like painting, I suppose. The preparation of the model, I should have done this beforehand, but, you know, c'est la vie. It's alright, we can go back. So what is everyone painting at the moment on their side? Have I inspired any of you guys that are in the chat to paint models? I'd love to know, have I inspired any of you guys in chat to paint models? I did have, which was really lovely, right? I had a guy message me and say, oh, thanks very much. You know, I've started painting, and I've started painting because of your channel, blah, blah, blah. And I was like so overwhelmed with that. It was so lovely. I couldn't believe someone, you know, would be worried about or say that about my channel. I was like, oh, my channel's actually inspired someone to do something really positive. And that's the nice thing about the hobby, right? You know, you can inspire someone to do something good or to do something nice. I was super chuffed with that. That was really good. So I've taken it down a little bit, but the trouble is, I'm always wary about filing down too much on miniatures. Batteries Not Included was a great film. Oh man, yeah, that's a classic 80s movie. So Batteries Not Included, for those that haven't seen, it's a little movie, and correct me if I'm right, Bearded Veteran, where aliens come into the land on Earth, but they're like tiny little flying saucers. Oh my lord, I can't remember half the film. I had, as a kid, the VHS for that. VHS, aka the older version of DVD, but it wasn't a disc. The older version DVD is actually a laser disc, which was very cool. But VHS was cassettes. But they were super cool. Batteries Not Included. I should watch that as well. Oh, so many good movies. So many good movies. Yeah, so what was my favourite ever scene from a film? Let's think about that for a second. Favourite ever scene from a movie, sci-fi type movie. Gosh, that has got to be... that's a really hard question. I think favourite ever movie would have been, or scene from a movie. In fact, I can't choose. I cannot choose. There's too many. There's too many awesome ones. I'm playing like 5 or 6 through my head from Labyrinth. I'm playing things through I actually like from Harry Potter. I'm playing things through from Lord of the Rings. I don't think one from a sci-fi fantasy film stands out. Oh, talking of sci-fi fantasy films, actually, I've not mentioned one that came out fairly recently I quite liked. Did anyone see the Warcraft movie? Anyone see the Warcraft movie? That is pretty cool. It tanked, I think, in the movie theatres, but it was actually really, really good, I thought, personally. So yeah, the Warcraft movie, good movie. So worth a watch, and that's a modern day one about orcs, humans, a big fight that goes on. Very, very cool. It is CGI, so it's a little bit naff in that sense, but I quite liked it. I thought it was quite good for a modern day movie. So yeah, so Batteries Not Included was a great film, yeah. Yep, did indeed. Only the model I decided to paint. Oh, cool. Thanks, I inspired you to paint a model, Bearded Veteran. It was a 1/16th scale Erwin Rommel. Oh, that I put off doing for months. Ended up completing it in a day because I could not stop painting. Do you know what? You get into a mode and you just zone in, and it's so nice to sit there and paint. It's one of my favouriteest things to do, and it feels so good. Absolutely love it. So yeah, I can understand completely. So I'm glad I inspired you to paint. That's awesome. And I completely get the bug. Once you start, if you start painting, people don't stop. It's just too good. Too damn good. But yes, I'm just mixing up another paint here because I'm looking at my Canon S Viridian. And I just want to give her lips a different colour. So not because I'm going to give them bright red lips and make her a hussy. You know, I just want to give, because she's got quite standout, or she hasn't got standout particularly features, and she's quite small in comparison to other models. So if you look at the size of this lady to Grombrindle, right? Look at the scale difference between the two heads. If I just bring that one closer there, lot smaller. So this is a lot smaller. Now, what I quite like to do is use a slightly darker flesh tone for the lips. The reason why I quite like doing this is because it just highlights an erased area on the model. And highlighting a raised area on the model just makes it stand out, and makes it just pop a little bit without having to do too much. So I'm just going to go in really light with my paints because I don't want too much there. And I've just given her a lip job. Don't know if you can see that there, just the slightly different colour, slightly different shade. I don't know if you can quite see, but that is there, so that's handy little tip. So the two colours to use if you're doing white skin tone or a traditional what's it called, like a oh crikey, well yeah, I don't know, what, white skin tone, but yeah, I normally use Kislev flesh, and then for things like lips it's just a slightly darker, would be Cadian flesh tone. If I've got black flesh tone, I normally try something like a Gorthor brown as my skin tone. Okay, so that's normally, or I mix it with Mornfang brown. It's really hard to do a black flesh tone, like really hard, without it looking absolutely stupid. But I try my very best, and I've got a really cool model. Darn, I should have brought him over. I've got a really cool couple of cool models over there that I could have shown as examples. But nonetheless, so let's just give the Canon S a little bit more colour to her cheeks because I've missed a little area there. But yeah, Bearded Veteran is right. Painting models is my saviour. Like, you know, I don't mind admitting that I went through some absolutely hideous times when I left the military, and painting models was a saviour. So not to be dissed, not to be forgot, but painting models is bloody brilliant. I would recommend it to anyone for any sort of mental health benefits whatsoever. It's very, very good. Oh yeah, Bearded Veteran saying, yeah. Oh no, Back Wheel saying Never Ended Story. Oh man, that's another good shout. Yeah, that's a great film. That is a good film, Never Ending Story. Apparently they're making a new version of that, I've heard, through the grapevine. Is that right? Has anyone else heard that? And I've also heard something very cool, which I'm super excited about, movie-wise, a new version of, or sorry, not a new version, a number 2 of Beetlejuice. So it's sci-fi kind of horror-y kind of comedy spoof. And it's got Michael Keaton in the new one as well. And it's got the original cast members in it. Awesome. I cannot wait for Beetlejuice 2 to come out. I'm really excited about that movie. So yeah, that's coming out very, very soon. Bearded Veteran, yeah, little flying saucer, they help with an old couple keep their apartment building, which is due to be demolished. Oh yeah, and they go around fixing things, that's right. So in Batteries Not Included, these little flying saucers go around the apartment, they fix stuff. It's very cool. It's really smart. I like that movie. But yes, very cool indeed. Oh crikey, so we're almost coming to the end of the stream, guys. So we started at what, 7 o'clock, 20 to 9 already. So yeah, they're my favourite films. We spoke about films. What was I going to speak about? I was going to speak about modern day computer gaming. So modern day computer gaming. Anyone online play computer games? Does anyone play computer games at all? I do from time to time. I haven't played some for a while now, but I do every now and then play. The last game I was playing that was sort of really in my geek sweet spot was Baldur's Gate 3. So that's on the PlayStation 5. And that is a Dungeons and Dragons game. And it's bloody brilliant. Really good. So if you like playing Dungeons and Dragons, Baldur's Gate 3 is a really good game. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching me right now and you're thinking, Steve, why are you going directly to the pot for this? This Genna's Gold is a layer. And this layer paint is really, really thin already. And I don't want to thin it down because I actually wanted to cover the sort of more coppery colour that was underneath with a gold sort of on top. So that's why I didn't. Usually I do thin my paints down, always do, always recommend you to as well. But I haven't in this case because I wanted to go over the top and get that little golden element done just underneath her chin. So yeah, that's why. Just in case you're wondering why I'm not thinning that one down. So Bid Adventure saying my favourites are Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and for Ultimate Geek Points I play Train Sim World. Train Sim World, I've never seen or heard of that, but that sounds very geeky. Yeah, but I do play Baldur's Gate 3. What was I going to say about that? So it's Dungeons and Dragons based. What do I like about it? First of all, it's super cool. I love character creation. Anything where I get to choose my own, all of that sort of stuff and create little things, I absolutely love doing that. Like, without, like, no hesitation, love it. Baldur's Gate 3 has a character creation at the start where you choose your race, you choose your sex, you choose absolutely everything about your character, right? And it's so freaking cool. I think I must have spent easy 40 minutes or so just creating a character. It was bloody brilliant. And then after sort of spending so long creating my character, I thought, oh, if I'm doing this, I bet everyone's bloody doing it. And I had a little check and they had some stats on it. And I think in the first few days that Baldur's Gate 3 was released, people spent something stupid like 20 years in character creation mode alone. That is absolutely freaking ridiculous. The stat is probably even worse, or I don't know whether it's worse or better depending on what side of the woods you're coming from, but absolutely nuts stats. But it's a very cool game, so I can completely understand why. Oh, these are really hard, see? Now this model here, right, I mean, it doesn't look too bad at a distance where I've just done that white bit, but it doesn't look good close up. Now, problem with this model is this is an older Games Workshop model. They don't do this model anymore, it's discontinued, and it's a different printing process to the modern day models. You know, I was saying it's really important to have a model that looks good and stands out. You need a good print. Well, this is not a good print. I have to say, Games Workshop, this is not good. I'll tidy this up, don't worry. It looks terrible at the moment. But yeah, the print on this is not very good at all. It's not in the same quality as the modern day Games Workshop figures. So by that, it means some of the edges when you're sort of detailing things in it, really, it makes it 10 times harder to paint a model and come away thinking, oh yeah, it looks really good, I'm happy with that. You will end up spending time and time again changing, replacing, and trying to fix bits of your model. I'll tell you what, just because it's the end of the stream, or coming up to the end of the stream, I'm going to do the base on this model just because it's easier. And I think I'll wind myself up if I try and redo those white things at 8:45 at night. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, great character creation. I love that game purely for that. What else is other people saying? My favourites are Ghost Recon, yeah, okay. Oh yeah, Train SimWorld. Don't know if I'd like it. I can't, not sure. I don't like them. You know, like you get Power Washer Simulator, Train Simulator, like Goat Simulator, all those like really weird simulator games. I'm not sure if I like them. But you're telling me here that you create your own train liveries to use in your games and upload them to the TSW server and and other players can download them. Okay, so maybe I'd enjoy creating the livery on the side of the train. That's probably about your lot. I don't think I'd enjoy too much else of that. But that's not to say it's not a good game. Because everything is different for everybody, right? I'm painting Sisters of Battle. People might think these are horrible, and they would never want to paint them in a million years. So, you know, it's horses for courses, right? So I'd never put down a fellow enthusiast and geek. I think it's important for everyone to find their own niche and what they like and just enjoy it and just have a good time with it. That's the main thing. So, what am I painting right now? Talking of enjoying it. So this paint I'm putting on now is a technical paint. It's not particularly technical. It's just a thicker paint and it's got small little bits in. It's got small little bits in, so it looks like, once I painted it, it looks like gravel across the floor. And that's the idea. So these technical paints that the Games Workshop do, or sorry, Citadel do, they have small little bits in just to make it look like some form of texture. So that's what I'm just slopping across the base at the moment. And you can put these on fairly thick and fairly fast. You don't have to be too skilled in putting them on at all. So there we go. Stick that on, stick that on. What else have we got here? Nothing else that comes through on chat. Well, I hope people have enjoyed the stream this evening. We have finished our boy Grom Brindle, which was awesome. That means we get to start a new mini next week. And hopefully, I don't know if I can create polls in YouTube or not. I don't know if you can do that, but perhaps if you're watching this back and you're wondering what we're going to paint, maybe we can take a vote on what to paint next week. Maybe I should do that now rather than continuing to paint my Canoness. So let's just finish her off. There we go. Let's leave the base to dry. So what are we going to do next week in terms of painting? Well, I hear you cry. Or I'm crying actually, because I'm worrying about now what models we're going to do. But let's have a think about it. I'm going to have to move my chair for one moment. Let's bring it back to our main screen, the muscle cam. I'm looking over at my pile of shame right now. I'm thinking, what do we paint? So, let me grab some items and let's see who's online and see what people are thinking. So, I'm just behind the scenes at the moment, grabbing some bits and bobs. And let's see what we got. So, alrighty. I've got 2 items to choose from here. Might have bitten off a bit more than I can chew on doing on the live stream, but we will see. Right, item number 1 to start painting next week is this fella. He is an ogre. It's a Dungeons and Dragons miniature. So that is the miniature for Dungeons and Dragons game. There's lots of little pieces in this packet. And yes, that's what he looks like. So an ogre. Or this. A ghost dragon. So a spooky, ooky ghost dragon. And again, for Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, what the hell do we paint, guys? Hey, it's me without a beard. Ah, don't be so harsh on yourself, bearded veteran. Not at all. Look, he's got, for starters, he's got honking teeth. Look, you're not that bad. So these two minis, we have got the ghost dragon or we've got the ogre. Who do we paint? What do we paint for next week? That is the question I want you guys in the chat to answer right now. Tell me, who should we paint? The ghost or the ogre? So stick in the chat, ghost or ogre, depending on what you're thinking. So let me know what you're thinking. Oh, man, I always sit funky. I always sit like I'm twisted. I always feel like I'm off to one side. There we go. That's better. Reset. Yes, ghost or ogre. Tell me what you want. Oh, Backwheel is saying ghost dragon. Okay, good shout. You're making me work hard here, Backwheel. It's a big model. So I'll have to, in the prep and lead up to the live stream next week, I will have to glue him all together so he's ready to go. What's the bearded veteran saying? Oh, loving the ghost dragon, but I'd love to see you do instruction on skin and shading techniques, which the ogre is perfect for. Yeah, he's got a lot of big fat belly there to do some shading on. So we need an answer though, bearded veteran. We've got one vote, and that vote is for the ghost dragon, and that was Backwheel. So thank you, Backwheel, for your vote. Is there anyone else in chat that is going to give us some indication on what you want painted for next week? I'm not sure if anyone else is there yet, but if you are, what you could do actually for me is you could stick it on the comments. So after the video is posted, once we finish a live stream shortly, it will then go onto my feed and it will sit there and it will say, oh, I could give the ogre fitness tips. Yes, I could, Backwheel. Yeah, he needs some fitness tips, doesn't he? Big time. He's certainly not got the... Oh, Honey Ann 42 cent ogre. Oh, so the ogre has got 2-1 on the votes. And that's if bearded veteran is going for the ogre, I'm assuming. So maybe I shouldn't assume. But as I was saying, when this video is finished and it goes onto my page, you will then have the you will then see it come up. I'll change all the symbols and I'll notify that it's the new one, and comment on that video. All right, so comment on the video and say ogre or say ghost dragon. A, that will help the algorithms and people will see it. Thank you. And B, it will also give me an idea of what we're going to paint, and I will be able to start prepping things for next week. Oh, give me a thumbs up. There we go. Does it do it again? I don't know. I can never get why it does that and why it doesn't do that when you're doing this. But nonetheless. So, to wrap up then, we spoke about loads of different geeky stuff today, and we will continue our geeky journey down the adventure road next week. We have finished our Grombrindle, so just to remind you, we have finished our Grombrindle. Here he is. Oh, turn him that way. That's better. There you go. Whoop. So he's done. Look at him. How cool is he? He's all sorted. I forget that it's all mirrored, so wherever you go the opposite way. So we've done our Grombrindle. We're going to do a new mini next week. It's going to be an ogre or a ghost dragon. Comment in this video once it's posted onto my YouTube channel and tell me what you want. So thank you to everyone that has joined. As always, I super appreciate you guys, your time, your patience, putting up with my babble and monotonous drivel as it comes out my mouth. But thank you, genuinely, thank you. If you found that this stream was helpful or good in any way, tell your mates about it. Tell your mates, stick it on your own social media pages. Give us a shout out. I don't have social media myself, actually, apart from YouTube, so I can only give you a shout out back here. But yeah, stick it on your socials, share with your friends. Much appreciated. All I'm trying to do here, I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking for anything apart from spreading the cheer. Spreading the cheer of looking at painting minis, talking a bit of fitness, having a laugh, exploring some geeky topics, and just chilling with some friends. That's all I'm after on a Friday evening. Remember, 7 p.m. BST every Friday. Obviously, I'll change the times as we move out of BST time zones, but don't worry, I'll update you. But yes, 7 p.m. If you've got any other questions, drop them in the chat. You can feel free to DM me if you've got anything about fitness or things like that that you want to ask. Apart from that, remember to like the video when it's posted. Remember to comment on the video for the ghost or the the ghost dragon or the ogre. Remember to set your notifications so that if you are subscribed to the channel, you will get notified when we go live or if anything new comes out. And yeah, pass the good word about minis and muscles. It is much appreciated. So, next stream, what we're going to talk about. Hopefully, I will have something to show next week. Fingers crossed. So I'll keep that a secret. But next week, the geek topics that I want to explore. Let's think. I haven't even thought of that yet. What are we going to explore next week? Well, I'm not even sure yet. So I'm going to have to think about that. But I will think about that. I'll post a short out this week and let you all know what's happening next week. But, we've got some chats coming through. I'd love to, I'd say I'd love you to DP the ogre, but if you decide to do the dragon for the live, then great, I'll look forward to it. But could you do the ogre for some instructional videos? Ah, yes. No, I mean do the ogre, not DP the... Oh, okay. Yes, DP is something completely different. Alright, so maybe then I will do the ghost dragon, and for the instructional videos, I will do the ogre. So it just gives... It's actually not a bad shout, actually, to be fair, bearded veteran. So yes, I will look at doing that for you guys. It looks like that could be the option, depending on how votes go. But anyway, till next week, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy it. Thank you very much. From where the brawn meets the brush, I will see you all next week. Have an awesome weekend. Enjoy. Stay safe.